In 2014, St. Louis is celebrating 250 years of history. To commemorate the founding of the city, the Missouri History Museum has put together an exhibit called 250 in 250. This year-long exhibit will tell the city's history through the stories of 50 people, 50 places, 50 images, 50 moments, and 50 objects. The museum's public historian shares with us selections from one of the exhibit's 5 sections.
So right now we're standing in the 50 moments section of the 250 and 250 exhibit, and moments is really interesting because unlike any of the other sections, it's all audio. People, places, these all have visuals, and the objects, of course, are right in front of you, but moments is first-hand accounts from people who actually witnessed or lived through the moments they're talking about. So it's not reading out of a history book or talking about it, looking back in history. This is from the mouth of people who lived through it. Most big cities in history have a fire story. London had a fire in the 1600s. Chicago had a huge fire in the 1870s. St. Louis's fire happened in 1849. A steamboat along the levee caught on fire, and it burned through the ropes holding it to the levee, and it began to drift out from the levee, a big burning fireball on the river. But instead of drifting out into the middle of the river, it drifted down the levee and hit one boat after another until 23 boats were on fire. After that, it jumped up into the city, and by the next morning, 14 blocks of downtown had been burned to the ground.
A most terrible sight was it to see. 23 steamboats and 300 or more buildings in blaze at once. The fire broke out about 11 o'clock at night amongst the steamers, and then spread to the heavy wholesale stores on the landing. And in 4 hours, nearly half of the heavy business portion of the city was in ashes. There was a very strong wind at the time, and the fire ran through block after block.
After the fire, city leaders proposed an ordinance that would require all buildings to be built out of brick or stone, and St. Louis is nationally famous for its brick homes today. Many of the moments in the section, it's from a time before we could get the person to record this, obviously. So stuff from way back when, it's a diary or a letter that they wrote, and we have a modern person reading it today and recording it. But there are a couple other ones that we had the real person come in and give their description of what had happened. One of the most exciting ones is probably the Southwest Bank robbery. The Southwest Bank robbery took place in the 1950s in St. Louis. The Southwest Bank at Kings Highway and Southwest Avenue got robbed in the middle of the day. It was the largest bank heist in U.S. history to that point. But it all went wrong, and a cashier had tripped a silent alarm, and the police showed up with the robbers inside the bank, the police outside of the bank holding the bank at gunpoint, and lots of innocent people in the way. So Officer Mel Stein was the man who shot the main robber in this bank robbery. He's 100 years old, and we tracked him down, and he came in and gave his story, and he remembers it as clear as day. He can remember it just like it was yesterday.
So we pulled up in the front of the bank, and just as we pulled up in the front of the bank, the dispatcher come on and says, "Attention all cars, the holdup at the Southwest Bank is now in progress." Now, I know what it's like for the hair to stand up on the back of your head, because that's what happened to me. As we pulled it, stopped and got out, I told Bob, "Take the side door, I'll take the front." And as I got close to the bank, Bob went to the side door. He opened the side door, and as he did, he saw Shoal with a gun in each hand by the front door. So Bob fired a shot. I'm coming up to the front bank now, the front door. Bob fired a shot, and he hit him in the backside. And just as he hit him as he opened the door and fired the shot, I could see through, and I saw O'Barman shoot Bob through the glass door, and he hit him in the head. So at that moment, as soon as I saw him shoot him, I fired 2 shots through the glass at him, and then I ducked. And just as I ducked down, 2 shots from his sawed-off shotgun went about 4 inches over my head.
The really amazing part about this is that the Southwest Bank robbery was turned into a feature-length movie with Steve McQueen called The Great St. Louis Bank Robbery. And the movie actually features the real people who were there on that day, and it was shot on location. So Mel Stein plays himself in this film, and he came in and told us what it was like meeting Steve McQueen and everything. It was really wonderful. One of the most exciting ones for me was tracking down the man who caught David Freese's game-winning home run ball in the 2011 World Series. Game 6 of the 2011 World Series has gone down in history as one of the most exciting World Series baseball games ever. 3 times the Cardinals were within 1 strike from being beaten in the series. Late in extra innings, David Freese hit a home run directly out into center field, and it landed in a patch of grass. And I think just about everybody in St. Louis can remember seeing this man dive onto the ball. Well, that man was a doctor from Alton named David Hewitt. And we really wanted to feature a modern moment, like not something from way back when, but something that even the youngest of children today can still remember.
When David Freese went up and I heard the crack of the bat, and I saw, it was kind of a combination of hearing the crack of the bat, seeing the ball start to go out to center, and I heard the crowd start to cheer really loud, and that's when I jumped, and at that point everything went quiet for me. It was almost like being focused on something so much where you can't hear anything. I had no idea that there were fireworks. The crowd was completely dead to me at that point. And it looks like on the video that I could see where the ball was coming down, but I couldn't because I rolled over the fence that I had to jump was quite high, and I kind of look back and I think, how did I do that so easily? I don't know. But I rolled around and I basically stood up for a split second on the grass. Everything was quiet, and the ball thudded right in front of me. And the only thing I heard was a thud of the ball, and then I picked it up and kind of rolled over onto it. At some point, you start to realize that you have a bond with the city and a bond with the team. There's never going to be a time now where I won't be a Cards fan.
It becomes much more personal. Some of the other sections, you experience it in a group where you can kind of walk around and browse. This, you're in your own little space, and you can really dig into these things.